alerting passengers in the cabin moments after the incident unfolded.
We don't know why this was an event, but unfortunately the safest course of action was to come back here and to return to land. We have landed overweight with the aircraft as well, so it will require additional checks.
The woman arrested once the plane landed back in Denpasar, meaning the flight cancelled. Passengers now been rebooked on alternate flights. It's the second incident on a Jetstar plane after a brawl erupted between two Bali-bound passengers over a reclined seat. A man was arrested after allegedly riding a motorbike at police in Walkerville overnight. Police were called by reports of a suspicious motorbike loitering in Queen Street just after 3 a.m. When the patrol began speaking with the rider, he became aggressive and additional officers were called. The man then rode the bike down the narrow one-way street, aiming at police, one officer putting his hand through a window as he leapt out of the way, needing hospital treatment. The rider fled, police later arresting him at Clearview. He's facing a range of charges in court today. Individual cigarettes will carry health warnings from today. Professor of Public Health at the Uni of Sydney, Becky Freeman, says each cigarette filter will feature one of 8 health warnings.
They're really simple text. For example, smoking causes 16 cancers. The research that's behind both our warnings and Canada's is based on studies of how smokers think they would react. So we'll see the real world effects. We're going to follow this over the next few months to see what happens. My gut feeling is we're going to see a lot more calls to the quit line.
Virginia Giuffre, one of Jeffrey Epstein's most prominent accusers, says she's in hospital following a serious road accident. Giuffre posting to social media saying she had suffered kidney failure after a collision with a school bus and doctors had given her 4 days to live. The 41-year-old has been residing in North Perth, but it's unclear where the crash occurred. Turning to 5AA Sport, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matty. There are rumours circling from across the border that Port Adelaide Vice-Captain Zach Butters could be on the move at the end of the season. Reports from The Age suggest several clubs, Hawthorn, Richmond, Essendon and Collingwood, are all keen to lure the 24-year-old, despite the fact he still is contracted until the end of next season. Meantime, the Hawks' pursuit of West Coast captain Oscar Allen is ramping up. Coach Sam Mitchell is reportedly in Perth meeting with the forward, where Eagles star Harley Reid's manager has also been. Brownlow medalist Jimmy Bartell telling Footy Classified it's common practice.
The market is so fluid. There's players who've moved in and out. As long as they front up, train hard, they're engaged while they're at training. I don't think they care as much as our generation do.
Australian golfer Min Woo Lee is looking to keep building after picking up his first win on the PGA Tour. The 26-year-old held off a late run from world number 1 Scotty Scheffler to win by a shot at the Houston Open. Lee says a maiden victory was on his list of goals for 2025.
Winning a tournament was one of those goals, and I'm happy to check that off. It was tough. I mean, props to the guys that win week in, week out. I mean, it is very hard.
Min Woo Lee will be teeing it up at the US Masters, which begins next week. And Novak Djokovic believes 19-year-old Jakub Mensik is the future of tennis after losing to the teenager in the final of the Miami Masters.
I could see back then already that 3-4 years ago that he's going to be, one of the top players of the world. So I'm super glad that he's using the potential that he has.
Yeah, one to watch for sure. That is the 5AA Sport.
And checking the drive to work and school this morning.
Living Choice offers luxury retirement living with premium resort-style communities. For locations throughout SA, go to livingchoice.com.au.
At Clapham, Curra to Stobie Pole, Springbank Road at Toronto Avenue, just near the old shops. Glenelg North, broken down car at the intersection of Anzac Highway and Tapley's Hill Road. Slow for works at Burnside, Greenhill Road near Glenburn Road, speeds at 40, and starting to get busy at Hallett Cove, Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar. I do have works there at the moment too. Cameras, River Road, Port Noarlunga, and got one right now, Port Road, Adaldinga. The federal election has been announced. All Australian citizens 18 and over must be enrolled to vote. Enrol or update your details by 8 p.m. Monday, 7 April at aec.gov.au. Authorised by the Electoral Commission of Canberra. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Experience the smooth, rich flavour of McCafe today. Expertly crafted by trained baristas, just the way you like.
Sunny 27 today, same tomorrow. Possible shower on Thursday, 21. That weather sticking around Friday and the weekend. Right now it is 18, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai Pre-Office is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 9. We'll get to some of your many, many contributions to the program on the Police Home Care text line in just a moment. There is still time to call in as well on 8223 0000. Have you seen any April Fool's Day related silliness around in South Australia this morning? Or maybe you've seen something that you thought should be qualify as an April Fool's Day style gag. Let us know, 8223 0000, or something that was true that you didn't believe. Something you've seen that's true that you didn't believe would be good. I mean, there's one that I actually quite got a chuckle about this morning. The Sandful have put out a post saying that they're excited to announce that the Sandful Grand Final will be held at the MCG for the first time ever, which I think is actually terrific. That's very funny. Do you reckon anyone
swallowed that one?
I haven't read the comments yet. I'm not sure. Someone will have. I'm sure someone did out there.
Maybe it was a Mallee idea.
Could have been.
We've brought football here for Gather Round.
Do you reckon that was the trade-off?
Well, it is the
Andrew Dillon said, hey, you want Gather Round?
Yeah.
We get your showpiece grand final.
I saw Darren Chandler Saturday night. I should have asked him about it.
I think that's very funny. Any others you've seen, folks, let us know.
Well, it is the SA National Football League, isn't it?
Well, what's the N? We're putting the N in the Sandful.
That's right.
At the MCG. If you see any, let us know. 8223 0000 is the number.
It's time now to catch up with Senator Anne Ruston, who is the Liberal Senator for South Australia, Deputy Leader of the Opposition in the Senate, and was a Health Minister in the former Morrison government. Senator, good morning. We had the PM popping in on the show unannounced. He caught us unawares, had a bit of a spring in his step with one eye on the seat of Boothby, off to Flinders today to announce this new medical precinct. What's your take on that? Do you think it's a good initiative?
Yeah, look, it's a great initiative, and I've spent a bit of time with the team down at Flinders going through this project. And I think the thing that I particularly liked about it is it's really focused on workforce, and we've had such a challenge over the last few years about making sure that we've got access to workforce, particularly getting in to see your GP. Is, I think everybody who's listening would know, it's never been harder or more expensive to see your GP. So this is a great project, and certainly we are very, very happy to make the same investment.
How hard do you think, or how damaging do you think Labor's negative campaign about Medicare is being? We're seeing early on that a lot of people are saying, and the only poll that matters is the one that happens in a few Saturdays' time, but a lot of people are talking about Labor's got the momentum early. Do you think that their Medicare stuff is doing you guys damage?
Well, look, I think it is really disappointing that this is what they would actually stoop to, because, there's nothing that's more important than Australians' access to healthcare, their health, and for the government to think that it's okay to run a scare campaign. And I've got to tell you, a lot of it is absolutely, not just no facts around it, some of it is lies, that they would stoop to that sort of level. I really think Australians will see through that, and quite frankly, they should expect more from their government than this kind of childish behaviour. But we will just keep going, telling Australians about our proud track record and the positive plan that we've got going forward, and hopefully Australians will see through the lies and the scare campaigns and actually realise that right now, by every measure, Australia's healthcare system has been let down by the Labor Party, and they're using these sorts of tactics to try and cover up from that.
Are we going to see more from you guys policy-wise over the coming 4 weeks? Because particularly on the health front, are you sort of keeping your powder dry for later in the campaign?
Well, election campaigns always run the same way, and as throughout the campaign, announcements will be made. You've seen them being dropped every day by both the government and the opposition. But we outlined last week in the budget and reply speech the broad outline of the plan that we've got, a positive plan that puts control back into the hands of Australians about a strong economy that affords us to be able to do the kinds of things that I know Australians rely on, like a strong health system, a strong aged care system, making sure that people with disability are supported in the way that we want to. But we've got a plan to do that, and over coming days, obviously, we'll be releasing that plan.
A lot of talk about Boothby, obviously, in South Australia being a marginal seat, and Nicole Flint has run a very public campaign there. We've got texts about it already in this last hour about a giant billboard and so forth that's going on there. Tony Abbott, though, is coming to Spence in the north, a seat that the Labor currently holds with a 12.9% margin. Is Spence the model of the sort of working class seat you guys need to pick up to form government, you think? And do you think to do so you're going to have to overcome some of these pretty massive looking margins?
Well, look, I think overwhelmingly cost of living is the issue of this election, and it's hard-working Australians who live right across metropolitan areas and our rural and regional areas are doing it tough at the moment. And we certainly know that, we should be making sure that we focus on all Australians. We're not just going to focus on areas where, traditionally there've been higher Liberal votes. And seats like Spence are really, really hurting. They're hard-working people that live out there. They're struggling to get ahead. They're struggling to pay their mortgage. And they deserve our help just as much as anybody else does. So, we are making sure that every Australian understands that we've got a plan for them. It's not just a plan for the people that would traditionally live in Liberal seats. It's a plan for everybody, no matter where they live.
Senator Anne Ruston, Deputy Leader of the Opposition in the Senate, thanks for joining us this morning on 5AA.
Thanks, guys.
Andrew's texted in disturbing news saying that he's just reading that the big rocking horse in Gumaraka has gone missing.
I love some of these texts. These are very good. Police home care text line.
Someone here likes Albo and thought he was great when he came on the show. I wonder if this is someone in Albo's car as they're driving to Flinders who sent it in under an assumed name. A lot of other people were saying, get him off, get him off.
I will say this about Albo's demeanour. We've spoken to him a lot over the years, and we've spoken to him a lot in studio, and that was a bit weird because he just wandered in. He was here to do another interview. And
we didn't know how long he was going to be here
He
for.
came in, he said, I got 2 minutes, I'll say g'day. He was up and about.
Yeah, no, he was. He like he's enjoying himself.
He skipped into the studio. Now, I haven't seen him with that much energy. I know it's a campaign, it's all theatre, I get it. But I reckon he has received personally that poll. The polls that came out this week, they've given him an injection of energy.
Well, you compare it to the last election campaign, where it wasn't like early in the campaign, it wasn't like week one, it was the very first day. The very first day at his very first press conference where he was asked about the rate of inflation and the official cash rate for interest rates, the Reserve Bank's official cash rate, and he stuffed them both up. Now, the residual effect of that was that for the next fortnight, he looked like a rabbit in the spotlight. Then, from memory, he got COVID.
That's right. He disappeared.
He got COVID and vanished, which is probably the best thing he could have done at that point in time. So he had zero confidence. And I think that given that the polls had picked up the fact that, and Phil Curry was talking about it at 7:30, the fact that there'd been this softening of the coalition vote and also a deterioration in Peter Dutton's approval rating, I think that has and the fact that he didn't trip over his trousers, day one last Friday at his first press conference, I think he just feels better now than he did last time. I think he felt like he had every Labor eye on him going, particularly right faction people going, oh, here we go. This guy's having a shocker.
I feel there's a recent equivalence in terms of what we're seeing in the federal election with the state election, where it felt. Do you remember what it felt like for Stephen Marshall? The timing of everything couldn't have been worse. All of a sudden, with COVID and relaxing restrictions and some members, the borders opening and going to the pub, all that kind of stuff. It felt like it was timed really badly for Stephen Marshall. Now that wasn't all of it, but it was a big part of it. It feels like Donald Trump is suddenly so badly timed for Peter Dutton.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the campaign, he's going to announce more sanctions or tariffs against probably Australia, more craziness that's going to tank the stock market. All of it, it feels like it is just disastrously timed and it's sucking the air out of the room for policy announcements and things like that.
And back in January, where Trump had just won, like at that point, it felt like there was a huge appetite worldwide for, we need our own Trump. We need someone who's going to shake things up. No, I'm not saying that Dutton's Trump. I mean, Dutton is not even close to Trump. There's a lot of things that are bedrock positions in Australia, like Medicare, despite what Labor says. I mean...
he's pro-Ukraine?
Yeah, 100%.
He's actually like a conservative like around the rest of the world, what they're like.
He's a conservative like Ronald Reagan and the Bushes were. So, it's not like as Labor's trying to call him, Timu Trump, like the cheap, pale Aussie imitation of Donald Trump. But having said that, a lot of the button-pushing stuff that he was talking about earlier, the one flag and all of his stuff on The Voice, like there was a lot of, this is good, this is what we want. He's going to be like a Trump. But now anything, even if you look remotely like a Trump, there's a lot of people that go... Yeah, okay.
I like some of it, but is the rest of it part of the package?
Yeah.
Gary in Collinswood's called him some thoughts. Morning, Gary.
Good morning, guys. My take on the Anthony Albanese thing was last week you made him look very silly. I believe he got his team together and he said, look, you need to go back in and they had all the. He rattled off all the things. He knew everything what to say.
Oh, right.
Makes it look good. That's my.
Okay, that's an interesting theory, Gary.
Well, he said to us off air that he didn't actually know that Nova and 5AA were in the same building. So, so he was downstairs with Nova and then went, I'll pop up and say good day to Dave and Will, despite last week's interview being. We've had a couple. Well, we had the one with him about the $275 power bill that went viral nationally, where it got picked up, and I think the Libs turned it into some sort of
became an
ad thing of us.
Do you know what those two issues have the same in common? And we have some sympathy with this. They're stories about numbers.
Yeah, well,
it's his kryptonite.
Yeah, well, that's why we're not in politics, though.
Exactly right.
That and the houseboat stuff.
Well, that's going to come out one day.
I'll return to the scene of the crime there. Manham, Saturday night. I had a few chilling moments where I went, I remember being here.
You've got to stop talking about that, because there's going to be an enterprising journalist, probably Andrew Huff, is going to start digging around about that.
That's the last
thing.
If
that happens, you're dead to rights.
There's a phone call to chill the blood. It's Andrew Huff from The Advertiser. I've got a couple of questions I'd like to ask you.
Let's check traffic.
I also have a photograph.
Visit Jarvis Toyota's new home on Brighton Road in Somerton Park for savings across the Toyota certified pre-owned range.
Thanks, Will. At Golden Grove, a two-car crash, Seaview Road at One Tree Hill Road, Clapham, Carrot Stobie Pole and Springbank Road at Toronto Avenue. So you see the old shops there, really big delays in all directions. Avoid that way to work if you can today. And works at Camden Park are also slow. Anzac Highway to Morford Road. Busy Brighton Road, Brighton with a camera right now. Port Road, Adeldingo. Build-A-Bear workshops are on at District Outlet Centres these school holidays. Go to districtoutlet.com.au for workshop times before they sell out. Main North Road, Parafield. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Imagine waking up in a home designed for luxury living, where every day brings the opportunity for a morning swim, state-of-the-art wellness amenities, and evenings spent with friends. Retirement isn't about slowing down, it's about living on your own terms. Living Choice has created luxury homes with premium resort-style amenities and a community of like-minded individuals who believe retirement is about living life to the fullest. Make your choice. Living Choice. Go to livingchoice.com.au.
We know you are concerned about SA's public hospital capacity and how long it can take to see a doctor. So are we. We need enough doctors to provide the safe, quality care you deserve. There are solutions for South Australia, and it's not rocket science. Visit safermedicalstaffing.com.au and sign the petition to support our 3-point plan for enough doctors for South Australia. Authorised by Dr. David Pope, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers Association, Adelaide.
G'day, South Australians. Rex Patrick and Jackie Lambie here.
How do we bring down the cost of living?
Stop those cartels price gouging our gas, Rex.
Low gas prices mean low electricity prices.
Stop those foreigners buying residential properties, Rex.
That takes away houses that young Australians need.
And take on Coles and Woolies, Rex.
That'll bring food prices down.
And make those first degrees free, Rex.
Let's take the debt burden from our students.
Vote for the Jackie Lambie Network in the Senate. Spoken and authorised by Jackie Lambie and Rex Patrick, 111 Macquarie Street, Hobart, Tasmania.
Adelaide, get ready for the free open road and outdoor show at Jayco Adelaide West Beach this Saturday and Sunday. See the latest from Jayco, Wayne Phillis, Weber Barbecue Adelaide, Red Arc and Matrix ski boats, plus loads more. With exclusive sales offers, plus kids entertainment, food, market stalls and outdoor tips to get you adventure ready. Don't miss it. This Saturday and Sunday, Jayco Adelaide. With free entry and exclusive deals, your adventure starts here.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
$9.99. Happy to take some more calls on the election campaign thus far seems to be energising people on the text line as well. Police Home Care text line. We'll get to some more of those shortly. Let's check the fuel situation this morning first. Better to be a member with RAA Rewards. Download the RAA app and start saving today. $1.69, the ex-convenience at Henley Beach Road, Brooklyn Park's pretty good. It's jumped up from yesterday, though. Oh, no, that's diesel. That's why. You're a goose, Will. See, I'm no better at numbers than the Prime Minister. $1.75 at the Caltex, Rambright Avenue, Hallett Cove. Unleaded, this is more like it, where the cheap stuff is. $1.55's pretty good at the Mobile Northeast Road, Hampstead Gardens, and $1.57 at the Mobile Commercial Road, Shido Park. It's better to be a member with RAA Rewards. Download the RAA app and start saving today. Let's head out to Blakeview, because Julie's called in. Morning, Julie.
Good morning, boys. As you can see, I'm from Blakeview and I'm in Spence, obviously, and I've contacted the Liberal Party on a couple of occasions and said to them they need to do a lot more election pushing out here, because this is a whole new demographic out here now. This is there's just new subdivisions going up everywhere. Younger people, different to your old rusted-on older people. Like my in-laws, were rusted-on Labor people, and it's just a completely different demographic out here now. And they don't do enough knocking on doors and getting out here, and because I know a lot of people out here that we used to vote Labor, or we certainly wouldn't vote Labor anymore. So, that's something they just need to do out here.
So are you saying, Julie, that you feel like the Liberals aren't capitalising on the fact that a lot of people aren't real rusted on Labor voters anymore?
Yeah, I think so, Dave. Because if you came out here and had a look, everybody gives you the impression out here, it's out in the north, it's Spence, everybody's down and out and they're on their bums. Well, that's not the case.
No.
I live in a nice area, and it's a very lovely, area out here. It's a completely demographic to what it was, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I actually rang Liberal headquarters and said that they got a good opportunity out here.
Well, maybe that's why Tony Abbott's coming out, Julie. Maybe it was because of your phone call.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. And can I just say something else before I go?
Sure.
I had a really good segment for you to follow on from your one with the guy with the stumps. You could have had another one, Prime Minister or half-wit.
Well, I guess that's both. That's the jury trial that we're all going to vote on in a few weeks' time, I guess, Julie. Right. That was excellent. Thank you.
Prime Minister or half-wit.
That was superb, Julie. 8223 0000 is the number. Should we do some police home care text?
But just to Julie's point there, I just want to say this is like almost trite to the almost to the point of bordering on something you hear somebody say in a Miss Universe contest. But it is nice to live in a country where whatever people think, and a lot of them have got very passionate views either way about politics and elbow this, starting that, but try doing a breakfast show in Pyongyang, Beijing or Moscow where callers can ring up describing Putin, Xi Jinping or, what's his face,
Kim
Jong-un as a half-wit.
Yeah. I don't think we'd be on the air for much longer.
We wouldn't be.
Or
and the
breathing air for much longer.
That's right. Be breathing Novichok.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It is nice.
Quite a lot of feedback still coming in. This is good from Tanya. Julie's right. The Libs do fail to capitalise on their opportunities, and they don't listen to Julie's type of feedback either. David in St Peter says, it's frightening that our Prime Minister can laugh about China's serious threat to our sovereignty. He's happy to talk about being a DJ or rugby league, but does he want to talk about the really serious issues affecting Australia? And David says, with one eye on the calendar, due to the stranger weather we've been having, it's affected the spaghetti trees. There may be a shortage of spaghetti in the next month or two. The spaghetti tree, was that that was in about 1970, I reckon, where they put all this cooked spaghetti in trees and did a TV show about it.
Is that right?
There was one that the late, great Peter Wiley, newspaper editor and former MD of The Advertiser and also the Daily Telegraph in Sydney, Peter, the White Rat, when he was editing the Sunday Telegraph, he did a story that a plabbit had been found, a flabbit. A flabbit had been found in Dubbo, and a flabbit was a flying rabbit. It was a rabbit with wings, and some local taxidermist had actually attached a set of bird's wings to a rabbit. And it was the front page of the Sunday Telegraph.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
A 2 kilometre long IKEA is apparently doing the rounds this morning as well. Someone's texted us in about that.
I reckon the current one does go for about 2 kilometres.
I totally believe it. That's not fanciful at all. Andrew says, guys, Cooper's bringing out a dark ale can in 2035.
Is that an April Fool's thing?
Oh, I think that's what he seemed to have suggested.
A dark ale can?
Hmm.
Why couldn't they bring one out?
I don't know enough about the vagaries of brewing to know about
We get
it.
stout in a can, can't you? What's the difference?
I think you can. Yeah, Kate, you'll notice them throughout the day. We enjoy you sending them through to us. We're just about out of time here, though.
Pete and Craigmore says, guys, I think the funniest April Fool's joke was that Alba actually had all the numbers relevant to the Flinders Medical Centre announcement. Maybe that was an April 1st joke. Perhaps he thought Will was going to be ready to ask him some pesky questions.
Yeah, tell us 3 facts about this. He may please listen.
It's a hospital. What's that? It's
I will say,
a big building with lots of people in it, but that's not really important right now.
I will say this about the whole housing situation. There's not knowing the facts, and then there's knowing that the facts are so embarrassing that you don't want to say them.
Correct.
And I actually think the instance we had last week was the former. Was the latter, not the former. So,
yeah, totally. You don't want to say the number.
That's right.
Because it might be the same number of houses you and I have built.
I think it might be close to that.
Yeah.
5AA News is on the way. Graham Goodings is next, and we'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll catch you then.
Coming up next on 5AA, the stories that matter to Adelaide with 5AA Mornings. Get involved in